Hello there, welcome to my video. If you are stuck at home and are too afraid to leave because of the coronavirus, I don't blame you. So this is the first expression I want to teach you today. I don't blame you, which is a great expression. I don't blame you. I don't blame you literally means, the chokuyaku meaning of I don't blame you means anata o semete nai, I guess. But conversationally, it's a little bit more like atarimae or shoganai. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Here's another good expression. I would do the same thing if I were you. I would do the same thing if I were you. So, boku wa anata dattara onaji koto suru. Or, I would do the same thing if I were in your shoes. In your shoes. I would do the same thing if I were in your shoes. Okay. Now, today's video is from Dr. Sanjay. It's actually a Stephen Colbert video. He's a 55-year-old talk show host from America, and he is interviewing Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who is a very famous TV doctor. Well, he's a doctor in America. He's a neurosurgeon. He's a neurologist. He's a neurologist. A neurologist is a doctor that specializes on the brain, so he knows the brain very much. Neurology. He's a neurologist. And tonight's audience, by the way, because of the coronavirus, there is no audience. There's a few people like the cameraman and I guess maybe the director. There's some staff you can hear laughing in this video, but there's no studio audience. So in America, we have many talk show hosts. Every channel, every TV station has a talk show host, but because of the coronavirus, many of them are canceling their studio audiences and they're just having their guests, which is very strange because usually the host, the talk show host, and the guest react and interact with the audience. But because of this, there is no audience, so there's no interaction. So it's a little lonely. It's a little strange. Anyway, today's guest is Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and he's a neurologist, and he's a best-selling author. And he's CNN's chief medical correspondent. Correspondent is usually someone that you communicate with back and forth, like writing emails or letters. Nobody writes letters anymore. But in this case, it's just like a reporter. He's an expert and he knows about something, so we can ask him questions and he can answer them. So we're going to watch the beginning of this. Let's turn this off here. Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome back. There you go. Folks, my first guest tonight is a neurosurgeon, a best-selling author, and CNN's chief medical correspondent. Please welcome, for his first Stephen Colbert interview, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Thank you, doctor. Good to see you. Much pleased.
Thank you. Now notice they didn't shake hands. He's smart. I see that, I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Vice President Pence and Trump, they said, we're going to keep shaking hands. And that's maybe not a good, I don't think that's a good decision. But they did not shake hands, they just did this. This is not common yet, but maybe this will, maybe that'll change. Maybe that's one reason Japanese are not catching coronavirus as much, or there are fewer cases in Japan that we know of, because Japanese don't shake hands as much. They just bow or nod. Let's go on with the video.
Thank you so much for being on here tonight.
Thanks for having me. I wish it were under, better circumstances.
Me too. But
okay, this is another great expression. When you are a guest in someone's home or on a show, you can say, thanks for having me. Hey, thanks for having me. Welcome to my home. Oh, thanks for having me. That's how you respond. And if you are getting together because of a negative situation, for example, let's say that you have bad news and so you have to meet someone because of a bad reason, like this reason. He says, I wish it were under better circumstances. And of course, you can also say happier circumstances. So I'm sorry we had to meet because of this reason. You can use this, for example, if you meet an old friend at a funeral. Soshiki, if someone dies, and you say, oh, it's great to see you again. Oh, good to see you. I wish it were under better circumstances. Or I wish it were under happier circumstances. So I'm sorry we have to meet because of this reason. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit in a few minutes about the expression, there's a fine line between A and B. This is used, and in this video, they don't use the word fine, but the most common example of this expression is there's a fine line. This is a little bit like when, if you know someone who's a genius, sometimes they're also a little bit crazy, right? So we have the expression of a common example of this is there's a fine line between genius and insanity. Right? It's almost like he's one or the other, and sometimes he's both. Another example of this is there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. Bravery, of course, is yuki, and stupidity is bakanakoto, right? So we often say there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. In today's video, they're going to use the expression, there's a line between, they don't say fine line, they say line. There's a line between caution, kiotsukeru koto, caution, and panic, which of course you know. Let's listen to it.
But you know, if a good time to talk to Dr. Sanjay Gupta. You're informing a lot of people over on CNN. I see you talking with Anderson many nights. Yeah. And you're a doctor and you have a new podcast.
Yep.
Called
Coronavirus, Fact versus Fiction.
Okay, let's get into some of the fact versus fiction tonight. You talk on the podcast about the line between caution and panic. And that's certainly something we've talked a lot about here, about, let's say, when to get rid of audiences or, how to do the show maybe without the staff in the building. So we try to keep people as safe as we can. Where is that line? Because that line seems to be kind of blurry right now.
Okay, that line seems to be kind of blurry. There's another good expression. That line is blurry. It means it's not clear. That line is not clear. Blurry, of course, is used often in photographs. When a photograph is out of focus, pin to awanai toki wa, we say it's a blurry photograph. But we also use it when something is not clear, easy to see. It's a little bit blurry. Let's continue.
Yeah, and I think it feels different for different people. And it changes. It's changed a lot over the last 2 months. We've been covering this story in great detail for some time. People now, I think, more than ever, are really starting to pay attention. I don't think it ever should cross into panic, because panic doesn't serve any purposes. I think certainly from a medical standpoint, the medical establishment is having to prepare here. But I think the idea that people should be concerned enough to really start to do things with their own lives that can help protect them, I think is real. I mean.
Couple points here. He says that panic serves no purpose. Doesn't serve any purpose. Panic doesn't serve any purpose, serves no purpose, certainly from a medical standpoint. So from a igaku tekina, a medical point of view, a medical position, panic is pointless. Imi nai. Panicking doesn't help anything. It's pointless to panic, so don't panic. And a little bit later, he uses the word concern. People should be concerned. Concern is like a weak form of worry, which is a weaker form of panic. So it's panic, worry, concern. Concerned is a very good word because you can use it even with people that you're not very close with. If you have a good friend and they have a problem, you could say, I'm worried about you. But if you have a coworker and you use the word worry, it's a little bit too familiar, a little so you shouldn't use the word worry unless you have a good relationship with someone or feel close with someone. So your friends and family, that's okay. If you have and of course it's just weaker. So I'm a little concerned. Right? It's I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, I'm not worried yet. I'm not panicked. I'm not worried. I'm just concerned. I'm thinking about it. I'm just thinking about it. I'm watching it. I'm making sure there's no problem. I'm concerned. So the word concerned is not as familiar. Yes, anyway. So he says, you should think about your life. You should be concerned at this point. Let's go back.
Do things with their own lives that can help protect them, I think is real. I mean, that's within all of us at this point.
Well, let me rephrase it slightly then. How worried should we be?
I think for the majority of people, This is not going to be something that's going to make them tremendously ill, this coronavirus. It might make them sick for a few days, though likely to recover.
And how does that manifest itself? Because I've heard that, for 80% of the people, and correct my numbers here if you need to, the 80% of the people, you'll have nothing or something mild.
Right.
In it to manifest, but the 20%, it could be severe, approximately. What is that severity? When it does manifest itself, what is that?
Yeah, so people will develop
So in this video, he says, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Let me say this using different words. You can use this expression when someone doesn't understand what you said, or if they don't like the words that you used. You can say, okay, look, let me rephrase. And you can just say, let me rephrase, stop. Or let me rephrase that. Both okay. How worried should we be? He asks. And the doctor says, well, not many people will get tremendously ill. Most people are likely to recover. Likely to, of course, is keiko ga aru. The chances are high. Likely to. Not keiko ga aru, but kanosei ga takai, right? Likely to recover. And then Stephen Colbert asked, well, how does this coronavirus manifest itself? Because he says he's heard that 80% of the people will have mild symptoms. The word mild, of course, is used if you have any kind of sauce. Sometimes you have hot sauce and mild sauce, and sweet sauce. Sweet, mild, and spicy, right? So mild is not so strong. And some people will have severe or very strong symptoms. Symptoms, of course, being shoujo. The adjective severe just means very strong. We don't use it really for people. Like we don't say he's severe. We say he is strict. But we say things like the weather is severe, the punishment was severe, his words were severe, but he's not severe. And the noun is severity. Please tell me the severity of this of the illness. Let's go back again.
If you need to, the 80% of the people, you'll have nothing or something mild.
Right.
In it to manifest, but the 20%, it could be severe, approximately. What is that severity? When it does manifest itself, what is that?
Yeah, so people will develop a pretty significant pneumonia. A lot of times they'll develop inflammation in their lungs. You think of the lungs as sort of being these soft sponges.
Yeah.
When you start to get that inflammation, the sponges become harder. They don't work as well, so it becomes harder to breathe. Initially, someone might just have difficulty walking up a flight of stairs without getting short of breath where it was no problem before.
Say running once around the audience and then coming on stage.
Exactly. That's right.
Okay. Of course, the big word, the new word probably for most of you is the word manifest. How does it manifest? How does it become clear? How can we see that someone is getting sick? And he says, well, you will develop a significant means fairly strong pneumonia. Significant is not small, but not huge. Significant, but you have to pay attention. Significant pneumonia. So pretty strong, high end. And your lungs will become, you'll get some inflammation, or there's some swelling in your lungs, which will make it difficult to breathe. The lung tissue becomes harder. Initially, the first symptoms you get will be you'll become short of breath when you're walking up a flight of stairs. A flight of stairs are just stairs, but one flight stairs. Of course, this building has stairs, all the stairs in the building. One flight is just one section of the stairs. For example, going to the first floor or the second floor, that's one flight of stairs. Excuse me. Oh. And you may feel short of breath. When you feel short of breath, you can say, I'm short of breath. Or if you're tired, you can say, I need to, let's rest for a minute. I want to rest because I need to catch my breath. Let me catch my breath. Let's continue.
You'll notice changes in terms of how your body's functioning, but ultimately it'll get the problem before.
Say running once around the audience and then coming on stage.
To breathe. Initially, someone might just have difficulty walking up a flight of stairs without getting short of breath where it was no problem before.
Say running once around the audience and then coming on stage.
Exactly. That's right. But you'll notice changes in terms of how your body's functioning, but ultimately it'll get to...
What if you're in your mid-50s and you're noticing changes in how your body functions all the time?
You're in good shape.
Thank you.
You're in good shape. I can tell. Yes.
A doctor just said I'm in good shape, honey.
Okay, we're going to stop there. So, I'm going to go back a little bit. He says, Now, Stephen Colbert is 55 years old, and one thing he often does in his show is he runs around the audience. So he asks, what if you're in your 50s and you have trouble running around the
breath
audience?
where it was no problem before.
What if you're in your 50s and you notice that your body is changing all the time?
Say running once around the audience and then coming on stage.
Exactly. That's right. But you'll notice changes in terms of how your body's functioning, but ultimately it'll get to...
What if you're in your mid-50s and you're noticing changes in how your body functions all the time?
You're in good shape.
Thank you.
You're in good
That's
shape.
A doctor.
I could tell, yes.
You're in good shape. And this is one thing I often tell my students. Many of my students want to say, you're in good condition. Now, the word condition is okay, but it's usually more of an athletic or professional opinion. Conversationally, I'm in good shape is very, very conversational, and you can use it. I'm in good shape could be physical, usually physical, but it could be economical. Like, how's your job? Are you doing okay? Yeah, I think we're in good shape. Or I'm saving money for my retirement, and I'm in pretty good shape. It's June Choni. It's I'm doing well. I'm on schedule. Everything's good. I'm in good shape financially. Or let's say you have a test tomorrow and you ask me, are you ready for your test? I think, yeah, I think I'm in good shape. I prepared, I studied, I'm in good shape. It could be your grammar, my grammar's in good shape, or my vocabulary is in good shape. My kanji, if I have a kanji test tomorrow, yeah, I think my kanji's in good shape, for example. We're going to stop there because I want to remind you that this is just a very easy expression and that you can use conversationally. I'm in good shape. He's in good shape. Or, of course, negative, she's in bad shape, like she's very sick, or maybe she was in a car accident, or maybe she lost her job and she has no more money, so she's in bad shape. It could mean many different things. I'm going to stop there, but I want to give you one last expression. I hope this corona thing blows over soon. We use this expression when we have something like what's happening now. The corona thing is a little bit like a storm, right? Like an arashi. It comes, it stays, and then hopefully it leaves. So hopefully this corona thing will blow over soon, and I can see you back at Action. I hope you're well. Stay safe. Everyone wash your hands a lot. I do that every day. And I'll see you very soon. Take care.